Hello everyone, how are you guys? My name is Akash Dev and I am doing 30 days of talking to camera challenge. This is my day 27th of hashtag 30 days of talking to camera challenge and the date today is 18th of August and the day is Friday. So till now in my previous videos I have talked about various data structures and algorithms. I have talked about linked list, stack, queue, heaps, trees, strings and many more topics like that. If you want to see those videos you can just go in my channel and see those previous videos. And now today in this video I'll be talking about various algorithm design techniques. So what are the many algorithm design techniques? In real life, when we are asked to do some task, we try to correlate it with our experience and try to solve it. Similarly, when we get a new problem to solve, we first try to find the similarity of the current problem with some problem for which we already know the solution, then solve the current problem and get a desired result. So what basically I am trying to say is, whenever we are given with a problem, like suppose your mother says you to go and bring some vegetables from the shop and you haven't bought vegetables from the shop at any time, but you know how to buy fruits, so you will use your previous experience of how to buy fruits to buy vegetables. I know that it is your first time and you can't be perfect in doing the things in the first time, but still you use your previous experience to do any task or to accomplish any task. The same goes with and the same goes here also. Now why do everyone uses this method? Everyone uses this method because this method provides some benefits. So what are those benefits? First, it provides a template for solving a wide range of problems. Second, it provides us an idea of the suitable data structure for the problem. Third, it helps us in analyzing space and time complexity of the algorithms. Suppose I know binary search algorithms and I have given with one more problem which uses binary search, but directly using binary search can't give me the answer of that solution. Suppose that problem uses binary search and that problem also uses quick sort algorithm. So when I know that to solve this problem I need a binary search algorithm and the quicksort algorithm, then for that I know the time complexity of binary search is log n and the time complexity of quicksort is n log n. So my time complexity of overall solution will be n log n. So that's why this approach is very appropriate to find the solution of any problem. In the previous chapters we have used various algorithms to solve different kinds of problems, but in this chapter I'll be talking about various techniques to solve these problems. So what are these various techniques to solve this problem? First one, brute force. Second one, greedy algorithms. Third one, divide and conquer, or it is also called decrease and conquer. Fourth one, dynamic programming. Fifth one, reduction or simply transfer and conquer. And fifth one is backtracking. Sixth one is backtracking and branch and bound. So let's discuss about each of these topics one by one. Now, what is a brute force algorithm? Brute force algorithm simply is an algorithm which directly comes to your mind while looking at the problem. This algorithm might not need to be the most appropriate solution or the most appropriate algorithm for the problem, but it's the algorithm which comes to your mind directly after looking at the problem. Let me read the definition of brute force for you. Brute force is a straightforward approach of solving a problem based on the problem statement. It is one of the easiest approaches to solve a particular problem. It is useful for solving small size data set problems. Now, what are the some examples of brute force algorithm? Some examples of brute force algorithms are bubble sort algorithm, selection sort algorithm, sequential search in an array, computing power of a number by multiplying that number n times. Like suppose I want to compute power of 2 to the power 3. Suppose I want to compute 2 to the power 3, then I would multiply 2 3 times. Convex hull problem, string matching problem, exhaustive search problem, traveling selection problem, knapsack problem and assignment problems. These all problems comes in the category of brute force algorithm. Now what is greedy algorithm? Greedy algorithm is used to find solve the optimization problems. Suppose you are given a problem in which you have to find the lowest or the highest amount of any value. Suppose you have to keep the profit highest or keep the profit lowest. In that case we use the greedy algorithm. Now let me read its definition for you guys. Greedy algorithm are generally used to solve optimization problems. As I said earlier, in greedy algorithm, solution is constructed through sequence of steps. At each step, choice is made which is locally optimal. Note, greedy algorithm does not always give optimal solution. What are some examples of greedy algorithms? Some examples of greedy algorithms are Prim's algorithm and Kurzweil's algorithm. Both of these algorithms are used to find the minimal spanning tree. Dijkstra's algorithm for single shortest path problem. Greedy algorithm for the knapsack problem, the coin exchange problem, Huffman trees for optimal encoding. So what we does in greedy algorithm is, first suppose I have to I have given a graph and I have to make sure that the spanning tree which I made from the graph has the minimum weight. So what I would do is, first I would choose the spanning tree which has the least weight. Then I would choose first I will choose the edge which has least weight. Now I will choose another edge which has either the weight equals to the least edge, either the weight equal to the weight of the least edge with least weight, or more than that, slightly more than that, or just more than that. So I will choose, and we have to make sure that choosing that edge should not form a cycle. So in that way we will keep choosing the edge until I found a spanning tree which connects all the vertices of the graph. Now I hope this was clear. So this is what exactly we do in greedy algorithms, or rather say greedy problem. Let's talk about divide and conquer problems. So what basically is divide and conquer problems? In divide and conquer problems, what we do is, first we divide a big problem into very small problems, and then we solve each of these small problems to eventually reach to our solution of our bigger problem. So the divide and conquer algorithms basically involve 3 steps. First, split the problem into several smaller sub problems. Second, solve each sub problems. Finally, combine the sub problems result to produce the desired result. In divide and conquer, the size of the problem is reduced by a factor, half, 1/3, etc. It could be anything. While in decrease and conquer, the size of the problem is reduced by constant. I hope this is clear. Now let me give you some of the examples of divide and conquer algorithm. I have already discussed these examples earlier in the previous videos. So what are the examples of divide and conquer algorithm? First one is merge sort algorithm using recursion. Second is quicksort algorithm. Third is computing the length of longest path in a binary tree. Fourth is computing Fibonacci numbers. Fifth is quick hull. So all these are examples of divide and conquer algorithms. Let me give you a little bit of idea about how these algorithms work. Let me take an example of merge sort algorithm. Suppose I have given an array and I want to sort it using merge sort algorithm. So what I would do is, first I would divide the array into two sub arrays. Then I would divide each of these two sub arrays in more sub arrays. I will repeat this process until I have the single element of each. I have the leaf node of which single element, like I have individual elements of the array. Now what I have done is, first I have divided the algorithm. Now as I have already discussed, what are the 3 steps? The 3 steps are, first we have to divide, then we have to solve the problem, and then at the end we will combine the problem. That is, first we have to split the problem into several sub problems. Second, we have to solve each sub problem. Finally we have to combine. So I have divided the sub problems. I have splitted the big problem into several sub problems. Now I have to conquer each problem, that is solve each sub problem. So to solve each problem, first we would see that, okay, for these two elements, which is greater, that is I will use the merge algorithm. I will merge these two elements in ascending order. Then I will do all this for first step, then I will do for second step also, then for third step also, then fourth step also, and then finally I would merge all the problems, that is all the solution, into one single array, and hence I would have the sorted array. Now what is the time complexity of using merge sort algorithm? The time complexity of using merge sort algorithm is, in worst case it is big of n log n. I hope this was clear. Now what are some of the examples of decrease and conquer algorithms? So some of the algorithms of decrease and conquer algorithms are computing power of a number by calculating power a comma n by 2 using recursion. Second, binary search in the sorted list using recursion. Searching in binary search tree, insertion sort, graph traversal algorithm, that is DFS algorithm and BFS algorithm. I have explained all these algorithms in the previous video. If you want to see how I have explained these algorithms, you could just simply go and check in my channel, or else if you think that my explanation is not that much good and I am not able to explain these topics pretty well, so I would be very happy to suggest you some other YouTubers like Abdul Bari sir and Gates Masters, and there are many more people. You just need to search it once on YouTube or search it once on Google, and you will get to their channels and the articles, and you could read it and understand it from there. Now topological sort, Warshall's algorithm, permutations, minimum change approach, Johnson-Staunter algorithm, computing median of topological sorting, fake coin problem, ternary search. So all these are the examples of decrease and conquer algorithm. Let me take an example, and I would say what would be the time complexity using each of the above methods which I have discussed. Suppose I have to find x to the power n. Now by brute force algorithm, what I would do, I would multiply x with x to itself n minus 1 times. First we will take x and I will multiply it with itself n minus 1 time. So what would be the time complexity? The time complexity will be big of n minus 1, that is equal to big of n. Now divide and conquer algorithm. So what would be divide and conquer algorithm? It would be 2t n by 2 plus 1, which is also equals to n minus 1, and the time complexity is also n. In this case, we know that the time complexity using any of the algorithm, that is brute force algorithm or divide and conquer algorithm, the time complexity coming is big O of n. Our next topic was dynamic programming. So what is dynamic programming and how is it different from greedy algorithm? Dynamic programming is very much similar to greedy algorithms, but what we do in dynamic programming is, like in greedy algorithms, we are checking the each and every solution every time, that is repeated number of times, and that was increasing my time complexity. But what we are doing in dynamic programming is, first we solve a subproblem and we store the solution of that subproblem in a table or in an array or anywhere. We will store the solution for that, and in later when we require the solution for that, we would simply search in that table and we would have the solution of that. Now let me read its definition for the case. While solving problems using divide and conquer method, there may be a case when recursively subproblems can result in the same computation being found multiple times. This problem arises when there are identical subproblems and repeated recursion. Now, dynamic programming is used to avoid this requirement of repeated calculation of same subproblem. In this method, we usually store the result of the subproblems in a table and refer that table to find the solution of our already calculated subproblems before calculating it again. Now, dynamic programming is a bottom-up technique in which the smaller subproblems are solved first and the result of these are used to find the solution of the larger subproblems. What are some of the examples of dynamic programming? Some of the examples of dynamic programming are Fibonacci numbers computed by using iteration method. Previously it was Fibonacci number using the recursive method, now it is Fibonacci number using the iteration method. Second is Warshall's algorithm for transitive closure implemented by iterations. Third is Schwartz algorithm for all pair shortest. Now let's talk about our next method, that is reduction, or other say transform and conquer. Now these methods work as a two-stage procedure. First, the problem is transformed into a new problem for which we already know the optimal solution. In the second stage, the problem is solved. The most common type of transformation is sorting of an array. For example, in a given list of numbers, find the two closest number. Now, what would be its brute force solution? Brute force solution would be, we will find distance between each element in the array and we will keep the minimum distance pair. In this approach, total time complexity would be big O of n square. And transformation and conquer solution, we will first sort the array in big O of n log n time and then find the closest number by scanning the array in another single pass, which with time complexity big O of n. Thus, the total time complexity is big O of n log n. What are some of the examples? Some of the examples are Gaussian elimination and heap sort. Now comes backtracking. So I have already given you a little bit of idea about backtracking while I was discussing stacks and BFS and DFS topics. So let me give you a brief idea about it a little bit, and then I would read it from the book and explain it to you guys. Now, what is backtracking? Suppose while traversing a graph, I reach to end and then I again want to go to the backward, then I would use a backtracking algorithm. Backtracking is usually done in stacks. Now, in real life, let us suppose someone has given you a log of numbers. The digit log number ranging from digits 1 to digit 9. Moreover, you do not have the exact password or key for the log. You need to test every combination until you got the right one. Obviously, you need to test starting from something like 111, then 112, then 113 and so on. You will get your key before you reach 999. Therefore, what you are doing is you are backtracking. Suppose a log produces some sound, click. If correct digit is selected for any level, if you can listen to this sound, such intelligence or heuristics will help you to reach your goal much faster. These functions are called pruning function or bounding function. Backtracking is a method by which solution is found by exhaustively searching through large but finite number of states. With some pruning or bounding functions, we can narrow down our search. For all the problems like NP-hard problems, what is NP-hard problems? NP-hard problems are basically non-deterministic polynomials hard problems. NP problems stand for non-deterministic polynomials. The problems which can be solved in non-deterministic polynomial time. So, like NP-hard problems for which there does not exist any other efficient algorithm, we use backtracking algorithms. Backtracking problems have the following components. First, initial state. Second, target or goal state. Third, intermediate states. Fourth, path from the initial state to the target or goal state. Fifth, operators to get from initial state to the target state or the goal state. And the sixth one is pruning function. and this sixth option, that is pruning function, is optional. Now, to solve problems using backtracking algorithms starts with the construction of states tree whose nodes represent the states. The root node is the initial state and one or more leaf nodes will be our target state. Each edge of the tree represents same operation. The solution is obtained by searching the tree until a target state is found. Now, what backtracking uses? Backtracking uses depth first search, as I have already mentioned. What are the steps? What we would do is, we would first store the initial state in a stack. While the stack is not empty, we would repeat. We would read a node from the stack. While there are available operators, do apply an operator to generate a child. If the child is a goal state, return the solution, or else if the child is a new state and pruning function does not discard it, then push the child into the stack. This is how DFS works actually, as I have already explained these things. Now, let me give you like a real life example and try to explain you these things a little bit more easier. There are 3 monks and 3 demons one side of a river. We want to move all of them to another side using a small boat. The boat can carry only 2 persons at a time. Given if on any shore the number of demons will be more than the monks, then they will eat the monks. How can we move all these people to the other side of the river safely? Now, same as the above problem, there is a farmer who has a goat, a cabbage and a wolf. If a farmer leaves goat with cabbage, goat will eat the cabbage. If the farmer leaves wolf alone with goat, wolf will kill the goat. How can the farmer move all his belongings to the other side of the river? You are giving one more very interesting question is, you are given 2 jugs, a 4-gallon one and a 3-gallon one. There are no measuring markers on the jugs. A tap can be used to fill the jugs with water. How can I get 2 gallons of water in the 4-gallon of jug? So these are some types of problems which uses backtracking algorithms. Now there are few more algorithm solving techniques, but these are not most used, these are very least used. So I will just give you a brief introduction about these topics. First one is branch and bound. So what exactly branch and bound is? Branch and bound method is used when we can evaluate cost of visiting each node by utility functions. At each step we choose the node with the lowest cost to proceed further. Branch and bound algorithms are implemented using a priority queue. In branch and bound, we traverse a node in breadth first search manner. Second one is A star algorithm. So what is basically is A star algorithm? A star is a sort of an elaboration on branch and bound. In branch and bound, at each iteration we expand the shortest path that we have found so far. In A star, instead of just picking the path with the shortest length so far, we pick the path with the shortest estimated total length from start to goal, where the total length is estimated as length traversed so far plus a heuristic estimate of the remaining distance from the goal. Branch and bound will always find an optimal solution, which is the shortest path. A star will always find an optimal solution if the heuristic is correct. Choosing a good heuristic is the more important part of A star algorithm. I hope both of these topics were clear. These are not that much used, and these will not be required if you are just preparing to solve Java questions. These are some advanced concepts. Now, what's the conclusion of this video? The conclusion is, usually when we are given a problem that can be solved using a number of methods. However, it is not wise to settle for only first method that comes to our mind. Many times the first method that comes to our mind is not the optimal one, and the interviewer doesn't want to know that method. Some methods result in a much more efficient solution than others do. For example, the Fibonacci numbers calculated recursively, decrease and conquer approach, and computed by iteration, that is dynamic programming. In the first case, the time complexity is big O of 2 to the power n, and in the other case, the time complexity is big O of n. So it is preferred to calculate Fibonacci number using the dynamic programming method, which uses big O of n time complexity. Another example is, consider sorting based on the insertion sort and basic bubble sort. For almost sorting files, insertion sort will give almost linear complexity, while bubble sort sorting algorithms have quadratic complexity. So the most important question is how to choose the best method. First, you understand the problem statement, and the second is by knowing various problems and their solution. So that's all for today's video. I will keep this video until this only, and it's great that I have came this far, and few more days are left only, 3 to 4 days are remaining to complete this challenge. And I think that I had decided that I would keep recording the videos until my college reopens, because I don't know after my college reopen if any day I get time to record these videos or not. So yeah, keep supporting guys, and thank you so much for if you have watched the video this far, and yeah, love you all. Thank you so much. Bye bye. All the best.